And of course, a quick, oh damn it, what's that word? What's that thing where you're like setting the scene and it's like the small print, you're like asterisking what you're saying? Oh, got it, disclaimer. Breakfast I've got chocolate porridge, peanut butter, maple syrup, banana and big blackberries. I can't remember what they're called. Peanut butter in one. Totally glues my mouth together. So extreme hunger, it is that feeling in us that we are like a bottomless pit basically, and you could eat and eat and eat and you would never be satisfied. And it's both physical and mental hunger. You genuinely are hungry, you're starving, you need to eat this food. You might feel full, sick, bloated, very uncomfortable and like you don't even want to look at food, yet you still want to eat it. I'll go out for dinner with friends and people will like leave bits of their food and I'm looking at them like, how have you left food? Like, because I just don't get how everyone doesn't have this. Why doesn't everybody want to eat all the time? And it's a really distressing experience in eating disorder recovery because you're scared that if you start eating, you'll never ever stop and you'll just gain weight forever and ever. And so you feel this hunger and it's kind of like, it just makes you terrified of the food. Extreme hunger is a very normal part of recovery as our bodies are trying to fix and heal. But more than that, it's a very normal response to starvation in general. It doesn't matter why your body is starved or why your mind is starved. If it is in that state, it is going to give you constant physical and mental hunger cues because it's trying to fix and repair. So it is not proof that our bodies are fat or that we will eat forever or that we will gain weight forever. It's just whilst your body and your mind need these foods that they've been denied for so long, and so they're telling you like, please go and eat these foods. We're not broken, we're not gonna get fat, we're not greedy, we're just starved. Mentally and physically, we're starved and our bodies and minds are trying to send a message to us, please go and eat, I need it to heal. And same thing with my friends who are able to leave food on their plate. Of course they can eat and stop because they're satisfied, they're fine. But of course I want to finish everything on all their plates because I'm not fine. My body's trying to repair and my mind desperately wants these foods that it's been denied for years and years. So I can't compare myself to healthy, normal people and think, I'm greedy compared to this person, or I'm gonna get fat compared to this person because I want to eat all the time and they don't want to eat all the time, because they're healthy. So they're not in a state of starvation and their body isn't crying out for food. My body and mind has been starved, so it does need this food. So it's just, you can't even make that comparison. What I'd seen as a greedy gene in me, I then started to see as a very normal response to how my body was, and a response that anybody in the world would have if they'd had the same experience as my body had had. So given that it's a normal experience, what do we do about it? Quick disclaimer, everybody's body is different, and of course what works for me won't necessarily work for anyone else. So please, like, I'm not a doctor or a dietitian, I don't know your bodies and your stages. This is just what's working for me and some of the advice I've had around how to honour and respond to extreme hunger, but in a controlled way. Personally, like, I'm trying to honour it in my recovery, and if I feel hungry, I'm trying to respond to that. I'm trying to bring in these foods that I'm craving and that I've been denying myself, and I'm using my support team to help me to do this, to stop either trying these foods and freaking out about it and so going back into restriction, or trying these foods but not in a controlled way and ending up binging on them. Because both of those are still disordered eating, and I don't want to fall into any of those cycles. And so the way we've done this is to increase my diet plan overall, so throughout meals and snacks, so that we are responding to that hunger and giving my body what it's needing. The advice I've had is to also add in more protein, so you're not just responding to your hunger through sweet foods, because that's kind of the temptation, and it's definitely my temptation because it's the foods I've completely banned, and those are the ones I'm craving, like chocolate, cake, pastries, peanut butter. So I'm not trying to save up calories through meals to allow myself to have the sweet things, because that ends up in a disordered eating cycle. I'm not eating the sweet foods, say, on an empty stomach, so that I'm really hungry and want to eat all the sweet foods. Like, I'll always have had savoury before my dessert kind of thing. Like, I'll have a meal and then a dessert. Same with snacks. I don't just always have chocolate frappuccinos and cakes. I have like avocado on crackers and other savoury things. Another way to allow extreme hunger but in a controlled way is to always plate your food. So you're not like just going to the cupboard and generally grazing and not really knowing what you're eating. We are choosing to honour our hunger. We're acknowledging like, yes, body, you're hungry because you need food and you're trying to repair. I'm going to help you here. So I'm going to plate you up some food and eat it. And I think this is really important for avoiding that sense of like guilt or like shame or regretting that you'd gone and done it, because we have actively chosen to eat this food. And then you might feel a bit guilty, like, oh, I've eaten more than a normal person. But then we can remind ourselves, yes, because we're not in a normal situation. Like, extreme hunger isn't normal for a normal person. It's normal for a body and mind that's in starvation. I think I actually spoke about this in my vlog last week, because I was making waffles as a nighttime snack, and I ate some of the peanut butter out the jar. And then the next morning, I felt really guilty about having done it. And I was then tempted to like leave it out of my breakfast. And so that's why I think it's important that like we're actively deciding to have this food. Like, I should have just taken an extra spoonful and put it on my waffles because I wanted it, and then I would have like actively been deciding to have it. And this leads on to another really important point as well. If you respond to your extreme hunger, then you cannot restrict after it, and you cannot compensate in other ways, because if you do that, you're going to be kickstarting a really disordered eating cycle of eat, restrict. So you're going to end up in this yo-yo kind of eating pattern, which is not going to be good for your mind. It's very disordered. It could lead to binging on the food. We are actively choosing to eat these foods because we're acknowledging like our bodies are in hunger. It's a very normal response to starvation. I'm going to go and eat something because of that. Like, I've plated it up, I've decided to eat it. And then even if you feel bad after it, like, just remind yourself why you're doing it. It's a normal bodily response, and that's why you decided to eat. And don't then go and restrict or compensate for it. And you're probably thinking like, if I give it to my body, it's just gonna eat and eat and eat and gain forever and ever. Right, that's not gonna happen. Like, why would your body want to gain weight forever and ever? Bodies don't want to be fat, they want to be well. It's telling you to go and eat because it's starved and it's trying to get you up to a point of health. It won't gain and gain forever because it doesn't need to. It's not trying to tell me I want to eat food forever and never stop. It's just trying to tell me I'm physically and mentally starved right now. I'm trying to eat food to fix that. And that's really helped me, like, allowing this hunger, because I'm trying to just trust my body and know that it will stop. Like, once it gets to a point, it will stop. And sometimes it kind of feels like blind trust, if I'm honest. Like, I don't really trust it. I don't really know. It's more like I understand the science behind it. So then I just think, okay, my body's just doing its job. I've been horrible to it and put it in a starved state, and now it's trying to fix itself. So I just need to like let it go and do it. And I do struggle to believe it sometimes, I really do. But there is a part of it that's just have faith and trust in it, you know? Like, we've got little Stevie down here. Just look at me. My psychologist would call it the cognitive side of extreme hunger, and like basically the rule breaking. So if you put a like normal body through starvation, they would also experience this extreme hunger, but we might have more cognitive hunger because we've got into a state of starvation through food rules and fears. So there's a lot of food we wouldn't allow ourselves to have, and when you break those food rules and you do allow yourself to have it again, for a while you are going to want that food all the time, because it's kind of like you've got some making up to do. Your mind is like, whoa, that's what this tastes like. I want to eat that all the time. I should probably talk about my own experiences here, but like when you reintroduce a new food that you've not been allowed to have because you've had your own rule about it not being okay, like, you are going to want that food all the time, and you will crave it more than something else, and you'll have kind of like more hunger for a specific food. And oh my god, I've so experienced this. Do you know what, I'll talk about my own experiences. Maybe I'll record something later and talk about how I've responded to extreme hunger. So I've just been to Costa to get a mocha frostino, they're called in Costa. I definitely prefer the mocha frappuccinos in Starbucks, but it's still nice. So I'm going to talk quickly about my experiences with extreme hunger, and just in case you're new to the channel, just to give you a bit of background, in the last 4 years I've had 2 relapses with anorexia, and both of these happened when I moved to new countries. So I lived in Dubai and I had a relapse, got myself a lot better, and then I moved to New York and then I relapsed again, and that's this current relapse. So when I was like 25, 26 in Dubai, I started receiving treatment, which was amazing, and it's the first time I learned what extreme hunger was. And I pretty much took an approach of like, okay, I understand what's going on here. And so I really tried to just allow it, to trust my body, like give it what it needed. If it was hungry, I would let it eat. And along with that, accept the weight gain as well, because that's what my body's trying to do. It was trying to mend and repair. And I basically just said, like, it's up to you, like, okay, body, off you go. Like, tell me what you need. I tried to respond to it and basically trust the signals that it was sending me, and trust my body to regulate once it got up to a healthy point. Which, oh my god, was so scary. And I found a lot of bravery, to be honest. I think I was just tired of it all, really. Like, I think I was just tired of just fighting against my body all the time and having this constant like obsession over food and like wanting to eat but stopping myself eat. And I was kind of just like, you know what, like, it wants to eat for a reason. If it's telling me it wants to eat something, I'm going to give it to it. I was saying earlier about when you break these cognitive rules, and then because you've denied a certain thing, once you allow it, your body kind of goes a bit nuts for it and wants it for like every snack and meal and whatever. And like frappuccinos was one of them, and I literally wanted them all the time, and I would have several in a row. I'm not joking. Muffins was another one. So like muffins and frappuccinos from like Costa, Starbucks, I would eat several of them in a row. But I wouldn't call it a binge because I was choosing to eat them. Like, it was a lot of food to be eating, yes, but I wanted it and I felt like I needed it, and whatever my body and my mind was telling me to go and eat it, so I did. And so it wasn't a loss of control, it was a conscious decision to go and eat because I understood these effects of starvation and I wanted to try and be kind to my body. And I did still have guilt around eating and fear breaking food rules. I didn't like seeing my weight go up at all. And I think the scariest part for me was thinking it was never going to stop, that I'd always want to eat and drink 5 frappuccinos and muffins in a row, and that my weight would just go up and up forever. But it really didn't. Honestly, I promise you, my weight did go up as I was responding to my body's cues, and then it just got to a point where it completely leveled out, and I didn't adjust how I was eating. I was still responding to my body's cues, and I wasn't cutting out foods like muffins and frappuccinos, but I didn't want to have 5 of them in a row. I'd like finish one and be like, okay, that was enough. And I did still have like hunger and cravings and stuff. I think those are normal. I don't think they go. They just weren't this extreme thing in me where I could eat everything at Costa and I wouldn't stop. It was more the extremeness that had gone. Like, I didn't feel like I would eat and never ever stop. My weight had stopped going up. I didn't have that like interest and obsession with food anymore. Like, I didn't really care what other people were eating. I didn't go through Instagram to look at food. I didn't read recipes or anything like that. Like, food was just food. It was just something I did in my day and then moved on. So yeah, this experience a couple of years ago, I allowed extreme hunger, I allowed weight gain, I allowed my body to heal itself. I waited for my weight to plateau, which it completely did, and it wasn't at a fat weight at all. It was like early 20s BMI. I lost all my obsessions and extreme hunger around food. Honestly, it was lovely. It was basically peace and quiet. It was just peace between my body and mind. I just didn't have this crazy conflict that I've got going on now. And what's so weird this time is, even though I've had that experience only a couple of years ago, I'm still doubting that it's going to happen. I still think, oh, well, this time I'm broken and my metabolism's not going to catch up this time. And I've got really good advice from like my psychologist and dietitian on this, and they're helping me to increase my overall diet plan in response to the hunger. And in my experience, when I try something that I haven't allowed myself to have for a while, I literally want it all the time. Overnight oats was one of them, and from the day I had it, I wanted it for like every single snack. So I had that for a while, and then once I'd gotten more used to it, I kind of didn't want to have it as often, I guess. And then it was pancakes, and then I wanted pancakes all the time. And Frappuccinos has been another one as well. So I like gradually bring these things in, and then when I am wanting them all the time, I do allow it as part of my meal plan so that it's done in a controlled way. I do still enjoy these, but I'm getting a bit more indifferent to them now. I'm a bit like, okay, I can have a Frappuccino, fine, but well, I'm not quite take it or leave it, but I'm definitely don't feel like I need it as much as I used to, because I've tried all of them now and I'm having them regularly, and I know if I want one, I'll just go and get one today or tomorrow. So it's not as like, oh my God, a Frappuccino, what is this? I want them all the time. So yeah, everyone's going to be different. Like even my experiences in the last few years have been different, but I think the principles still apply, that we should be allowing these foods because we're wanting them for a reason. Like hunger cues from our body and our mind is a very normal response to starvation. And it is scary, and like I get freaked out when I feel like I could eat and never ever stop, but like I do just try to remind myself like it won't last forever, and use my support team as well, and like this advice that they've been giving me, because it has been working on the things that I've been doing it with. So I hope it's helpful for you guys to hear like the professional advice that I've had, and also some of my experiences and how I've kind of responded to that advice. And I know that everyone is so different, but I think if you're experiencing this extreme hunger, like mentally or physically, then it is because your body and your mind have been starved of these foods. And I don't use starvation in terms of like in a red zone on a BMI chart, like critically low weight, like literally that you're under the weight your body wants to be. So you could still be at a healthy weight and be in starvation because you're holding your body below its set point. And also if you're still restricting certain foods to maintain a weight, or you've still got fear foods, then you still are in restriction, even if your body is like healthy on a BMI chart. And it's not just you who would experience this either. Like if you put any body or mind in the world through what yours has been through, they would have this extreme hunger too, because it's a normal bodily and mental response to starvation and to restriction. Yeah, see, that was nice, but it's kind of not like the best thing that's happened in my day, you know? I've not been like longing for that Frappuccino. I'm like, okay, that was nice, now I can move on. So I hope this helps people. Like when I first started in recovery, no one talked about hunger. It was like a really embarrassing thing that you'd experience. So I just thought like, oh, well, I'm broken then, and I'm greedy, and I'm the one that is going to end up fat. But like, no way. Even if people aren't admitting to it, everyone who is in starvation will experience this hunger, because that your body's physical. Like your body just wants you to be well, and it just wants to heal you. So just, yeah, my big message here is like extreme hunger is a normal response to physical and mental starvation and restriction.